My name is Avery,
Hi, my name is Robert.
And I'm Logan.
and our project that we will be talking about and presenting is on Chameleon Skin.
Okay, go.
So first off, why is our project interesting? Well, for one thing, our project covers the topics of optics and natural phenomena of light.
Yep, and we know that it could be a green source of energy. It can be used to heat or cool systems or structures, and in that way, we'll save money and reduce our carbon footprint.
And especially in Hawaii, this applies because Hawaii can get really hot and really humid. And so on certain days, you want it to be cooler. So, like Robert said, save money because you don't have to turn the AC on. Or on really cold days, which is very rare, you can heat up a structure or a system through this technology and the prototype that we are building. So some background information on our project is that it was inspired by a video contest in which the group that proposed the idea of chameleon skin, that group won. So basically, we're fabricating the idea they proposed, and it's kind of like chameleon skin, where chameleons can change the color of their skin depending on what surface they're on. So similarly with our project, that's what we will be fabricating. We're going to make a prototype of the idea they proposed.
So why is this important? Well, cooling is very important, especially here in Hawaii. And most people use AC, and AC can be very, very expensive. There's another thing that people use. I actually had it used on my house, where they apply a white reflective coating on the roof, and it helps to reflect the energy from the sun. Now, this is just a different way, and it doesn't require as much labor and as much money. It's much more feasible to be applied to as many houses as possible.
So this is going to be a brief project timeline. We're now right here. We're expecting our parts to come in very soon. As soon as they do, we're going to start fabrication. So we'll build the prototype. Once we get that builded, we'll test some of how the light reflects and stuff of the prototype.
Once we're done testing it, we can revise the prototype to make it more efficient, better, whatever it is we need to change. And then, of course, we need to test it again. And following those tests, we can analyze and report our findings, in our project paper. Okay, so this is a list of the materials we're using. So we have the plexiglass cells. These are what the cells are actually made of that we'll put together to reflect the light. This is probably going to be plexiglass or glass panel that we need to attach the cells to. And then we have our hydraulic system, which is basically just 2 syringes with water and a tube. So you can push and pull an object. So this will allow us to separate the cells and push them back together.
So this is the design of what we're going to be building for the chameleon skin. So as was mentioned in the materials, we're going to have our plexiglass panels. And this will act as, like say this is maybe the structure or the building that these would be attached to. And what we're going to do is, with those triangular plexiglass rods, we're going to place them like so. And we're going to continue placing them side by side all the way down to the end of our little sheet here. And then on the opposite side, we'll have another sheet of plexiglass, another insulating layer. And on this side, we'll have the plexiglass rods fit within those gaps. So kind of like teeth. So we'll have them fit in like so, all the way down. And in that way, as we'll mention earlier, the topics or the principles that this material uses in order to reflect light or to let light in. So as was mentioned earlier too, we will be using syringes. And how we will do that is we'll attach the end of a syringe, the part that you can pull in and out, to the opposite side of our layer of our chameleon skin, and like so. While we have the tube part here, and we'll have another syringe on this side where we can pump water in, and it will make the layer separate. And then when we suck this one out, it will bring the layers back together. And then what we will do is we will fill this when it's together, we will fill it with water. So water will come out. Or we're still working on the design to let water in. But basically, what we'll do is we'll put water in, and then that way we'll fill in all the air gaps.
The purpose of this hydraulic system is to make sure that when the cells are together, it will reflect all light. Now, when the system is wet, it will no longer reflect, it will transmit. So all the light will go straight into the building. So when the system is wet, we need to dry it off. So that's when we would separate it. And we would make sure that we need a system that can do both. And if we do want the system to warm the house, we do not want this to reflect, we want it to transmit. So that's when we would wet through this system here. Okay, so what other topics are we learning with this project? So one of the topics is called total internal reflection. And so we have here our chameleon skin cells. If you notice, we have the left side and the right side. Between the cells, there are really small gaps of air that are between the cells. And so when the sunlight comes and hits the first plastic cell, some of the sunlight is reflected, but it changes the angle of incidence. So then the sunlight will change direction. When it hits the air, because the refraction indexes are different, it's going to change the angle again. And then when it hits the second plastic cell, it's going to go straight back out. And so it's going to result in total internal reflection. And this will allow us to prevent the heating of this building or keep it cool, so to speak.
Yep. And in opposite to this, because it goes in and comes out, there's no rays going through here. Another case is when there is refraction. So what would happen with ours is that we'd fill these little gaps of air with water. And what happens is that it becomes translucent. So when the rays come in here, and let's say it's filled with water, it reaches in the plastic and it bends a little, but then once it reaches the water, it goes straight through and it comes back out here. And then this can be used for the opposite case. Instead of cooling, we want it to heat.